love with you. I'm so in love with you.
Hi, I'm Tate.
And I'm Lizette.
And welcome to the W family.
We're starting this YouTube channel because we get a lot of support about us and our relationship. And people know of us, but they don't really know like inside our relationship unless you see us like day to day. And so we want to start this YouTube channel to help people understand us, as well as give you guys a new perspective on your relationships.
That being said, we're gonna, obviously talk about a lot of relationship stuff, both our own things that help us thrive in our relationship and stuff that we catch and correct ourselves, as well as the questions you guys have for us for your own relationship. It's not really like a straight guide, but it is another perspective to help you, get through a relationship. Sometimes people look at it one way when you really need to look at it from all angles of the problem or of the issue or situation,
So if you rewind to the intro, you can see our Instagrams and Snapchats, and you're always welcome to DM us, and we will be answering any questions that you have on our next YouTube video.
Pretty much for this YouTube video, it's gonna be a startup, and we're just gonna talk about our relationship and how we started dating, and pretty much just our story that led to us getting to where we are.
It's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of funny, honestly. So, do you want to be the one to start?
Okay, so like 2017?
2007? No. Are we talking about when we first started dating?
Or like when we first met? How we met?
When we first met, yeah, that's when we first met.
So that's 2017?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2017, I moved back to St. George, and I transferred from Food for Less in California to the Smiths in St. George. And that's where Tate was a bagger, and yep. I was a cashier. And we used to mess around at work. We had like this game where we would like take the creepiest Snapchats of each other. Where like you were like a stalker basically.
It was one of the fun. Like it was crazy too. Like we get each other like she'd be standing by Starbucks and I hit her like 3 aisles down, freaking through the chips and shit. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Or like I'd be hiding behind like the register and get him while he's like focusing on bagging.
Have the dumbest looking faces and stuff too.
So we met through work. Thanks, Smiths. That's the only good thing that comes from it.
Oh my god. Hey, they pay insurance too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm just kidding. It's a pretty good company.
It is a good company. We're just bullshitting. It's work sucks.
But work is work.
Yeah.
You just go in there, take care of your business. And so that was in January. And then so the summer was coming up, and Tate was leaving for Yuma, and I was like, and so
you're gonna listen to this one, fellas. You're gonna want to open the ears up for this one. Go ahead, tell her who started what. Go ahead. What?
It was me. I said, "Oh, we should go to breakfast before you leave." And so he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally down." And I was like, "Oh, have you ever been to George's? It's this like little shop. It's really cute and it has really good food." And so we went there for breakfast, and we were just bullshitting basically, and we really found out a lot about each other because like our backgrounds are really similar.
Yeah, like scary stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I think it has me in question like whether opposites attract or not, because Tate and I are really similar in so many ways. It's crazy.
Yeah, so then we did the George's thing, and after that I came back after summer, and we kind of talked a little bit. Didn't really like hang out a whole lot. Yeah,
because at that time I had like 2 jobs, and I was like bouncing back and forth. I had like no time in between.
Mm-hmm. And I was out just being stupid, doing dumb shit.
He wasn't ready for me. Which is basically true, because like that's one thing we are a big advocate of is self-love. And I think like he wasn't ready or like prepared within himself to be in a relationship like ours at that time. And
I'll say it. I had confidence issues. I didn't love myself enough. Shit. I had confidence issues, definitely. Didn't love myself enough to even like fathom going up to a girl like Lizette, because she was set. You know what I mean?
Okay, so February 2018, he had Snapchatted something, how like his phone was so dry.
I put on my story. My phone is so dry on Valentine's Day that even Team Snapchat isn't going to send me a message, because they didn't send me a message that day. It was hilarious. My phone was dry as shit 2018 Valentine's Day.
And
She slid up in the DMs, and she was like, that's what you get for not hitting your girl up. And we threw a last minute date together, and we went to Alvaro's in St. George for food.
Well, first we went to Fiesta Fun.
Fiesta Fun first, yeah.
Because that's like the only thing to do in St. George. Really?
So I gotta get messed up pretty much. There's nothing else to do.
Or like going hiking and stuff, but you really don't want to do that at night. And everything closes at like 10 except for like Denny's. So that like really, is the rundown.
Yeah, so we did that.
So we went to Fiesta Fun, and then we were talking about how like Mexican food basically. He was like, oh, do you like lengua and stuff? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm so down. But I was like, I'm scared to try any Mexican food place out here because I'm afraid to waste my money, basically.
And we were laughing about the same situation.
And we're like, you're damn right, because like he's from Arizona originally.
Southern Arizona, right by the Mexican border.
And I'm from California, and my grandparents on both sides are from Mexico, so authentic Mexican food is in the family for sure. And so I was like, I'm scared to waste my money on food out here.
And just both of you, like everybody that knows where we're from, Mexican food is just dank as hell from where we're from. So like, it's really hard to stand up to it.
And it's like taco trucks are around every corner there. So it's like, and in St. George, they don't have that. It's kind of disappointing because you need that after a night of drinking.
Like, don't get me wrong, like they have good barbecue places and stuff, but for Mexican food, it's just, there's nothing. There's really not that much there. Like Alvaro's is, it's good for St. George, but it's okay everywhere else, you know?
Yeah, compared to everywhere else. So when we went, so we were I was driving around. I was like, and then he was like, oh, let's try this place. They have tacos de lengua. And I was like, okay. And then so we tried it out. We were eating, we were just laughing, having fun. And then after that date, time went by a little bit.
Not that much.
We were talking like every day, Snapchatting every day.
It was like 2 weeks before we went out again.
But we were still like hanging out, like we were just friends.
Yeah, we didn't really classify stuff as a date.
Yeah,
honestly,
and like he like didn't kiss me for like the first couple of times that we were hanging out.
She didn't kiss me either. She didn't lean in for nothing. So like, you can't even.
Well, obviously I didn't want to get rejected, so there's that.
She can ask me to go on the first date, but she can't make the first move on.
Hey, I made the first date happen, so I guess.
Very true.
It's up to you after that.
Yeah, true, I guess.
And so time went by. We were Snapchatting every day, and then one day I was like, oh, it's really like reassuring when people make time for you, especially like when we're busy or you're busy.
She was working 2 jobs at the time, so she texted me. She said, yeah, it's nice to know that people want to still hang out with you even though that you're busy and your schedule's slammed all the time. And that was me, because I kept asking. That is what took us forever to hang out the next time. She kept working, and she was, which is, it is what it is. But
Hustler.
she was working, so we couldn't hang out. And I was like, all right, whatever then. Next time you have a day off from both jobs, let me know and we'll have a full day together. And that was when she texted me that message saying, it's nice to know that people want to hang out with you even though you're busy as hell all the time.
And then
that message, because I was dense. I didn't even know that she liked me in the sense of she wanted to date me. So when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, so she likes me. That's okay. Because I was telling all my homies, I was like, oh yeah, she's a friend. She's cool. She's someone that, you can be a homie and hang out with.
I am cool. Thanks, babe. And so after I said that, he said, "Oh, I wouldn't be wasting my time if I didn't like you." And I was like, little butterflies. My heart started pounding really fast. I was like running around my room. I was like screaming with my phone in my hand. I was like, ah! It was a good time.
Definitely. Starting out. Yeah. And then what do we do after that?
Well, we went on the hike.
Well, we went on a couple days before.
Well, yeah. So we went to like Applebee's and
we did. We
like,
had a bunch
dates.
of a bunch of little dates. Like, you know, we went to Applebee's. We went to a couple movies a couple times. Like we said, not a whole lot to do in St. George, so we had to get creative. You know, and then there was the day that we went to Zion National Park. Mind you, when that text message situation happened like a month and a half after, or no, it happened a month and a half before the Zion trip. So I still haven't kissed her all the way up until the Zion trip, right? And we've gone on so many dates, we've done so much stuff, and I know she likes me at this point. All right, okay. So
side note.
so the Zion trip comes around, and she lets me spend the night at her house because we book out early. We left at like 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's really early because
something like that. Because it's like an hour drive from St. George to Zion. Right? Is that,
yeah, and then the hike it was like
it's like a 4-hour hike.
4-hour hike. Not round trip.
Oh no, the round trip it's like
round
6
trip
or
is like
7.
6 or 8 to 8 hours.
Yeah, well no, it was 6 because we don't have to talk about that actually. It was, but it was 6 because the last 2 was downhill.
Oh yeah,
so,
and it's really quick because it's downhill. Yeah.
Anyways,
so we were hiking, talking about like our childhood and crazy stuff and like what he believes in, what I believe in, and like it's really cool because we are really open-minded and we have an open mind. Like we're open to new perspectives and stuff, and so like it's really cool. Tate's really smart. And so I just like feel safe like when we talk about like the hard stuff. It's just it's easy with us.
Well, you know, people that know me know the type of mindset I have and know my belief system, and you have to be open-minded when it comes to things, you know. So on the mountain, another thing too was the mountain was my idea because I know that out in nature, especially somewhere like Zion, the energy out there is ridiculous. And I had taken crystals with me and I had meditated for 2 days almost straight before that, trying to prepare mentally for this, you know, and trying to really scope out because I liked her. Like I enjoyed her. So I wanted to see, you know, if this was worth pursuing or if it was, you know, just one of these things you just drop. And obviously it's not something you just drop because we're here.
Bam.
But we got up to the top of the mountain, and I remember too because I dropped a crystal of Duranite up on the top of the mountain over on Observation Point, kind of down in the low, so it might still be there, but if wind came around it probably knocked it off or something. Yeah, but either way it's in the canyon, you know. And I had left the rock in the canyon, you know, because I set out to do that day. I was like, you know, if everything goes well, then we're going to leave this rock here because this is where the relationship starts. And that same night, we went back.
Oh, wait. When we were at the top, he held my hand for the first time.
Yep, and we took pictures.
Yeah.
And we took pictures up there and everything. But that same night, we had went back to Lizette's house, and we were just hanging out and everything. And
we were really tired because that hike was awesome, but it was really exhausting.
Yeah, it was
hot.
It was an exhilarating hike. Yeah, and the incline was ridiculous on it too. So we had did that, and then when we came back that night, that was the first day I'd kissed her.
And then I was like, finally. I really did say that.
So a year and like a couple months after our first date, I kissed her.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks later, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
Yep, I remember that. It's funny.
That's also when we were just getting ready for bed, and then he I was like, oh, all you have to do is like ask.
We went to George's. I asked her to be my girlfriend early in the morning. And then she said yes. And then after that, we went out to eat. Took her to George's. We got food. And then she took me down to Vegas and we met my grandparents.
Yeah, and they fell in love with me too.
Good time. We came down, we got drunk. It was a great time.
It was great. And so, yeah, that's our story. If you have any other questions, you're always welcome to DM us on Snapchat or Instagram. I put them both in the intro.
All of them in the beginning.
And just like and subscribe so you get all the W Family info.
Also, add us on Snapchat because
Definitely.
we do keep funny stuff on the on the Snapchat stories, so it's a good time. Our Snapchats are good times, trust me.
Yeah, like when we went to Disney World, we were like recording everything.
Yeah.
A good time. So thanks for watching.
And subscribe.